everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and in the last video we actually ended ourselves right here in Dragonholt Village. I'll give you a quick close-up so you can picture that in your mind. Now, this particular book right here wasn't shown in the last video, but this is essentially where we are at in this point in the story. This book here says the approximate playtime is 30 to 50 minutes per chapter, so we'll be going back and forth between campaigns and referencing this particular Dragonholt Village book. Now, we currently are at an inn or some type of house in this particular adventure, and we've just had lots of milk and other drinks and replenished our health. Our stamina has come back, I should say, not our health. Our stamina has come back, and we've actually regained disabled skills as well. And we now are essentially going to be exploring the town of Dragonholt. Now, I'm not sure how much longer this playthrough will continue because of spoilers and whatnot, but I thought we'd progress through Dragonholt, at least you get an idea of what the town looks like and how it works, because there's a really interesting Dragonholt village tracking sheet that you can print off. And as you can see right here, it's got time. So it's got time for day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, with entries on the bottom of each of them. So as soon as the time passes through, you read the particular entry that it references. Down below here, we've got these progress tracks essentially in different areas. So heroism, academic study, social practice, spiritual meditation, combat training, physical training, and hero. I already said heroism. So those are the different progress areas, I guess, that we can work at maybe while we're inside of Dragonholt to increase our character. And this is probably going to expand our options potentially in the next scenarios that we do. So I'm going to put the sheet aside for now, because as we open this actually up, we're going to actually be able to see that it actually references this Dragonholt Village tracking sheet right off the bat. So what you can see right here, which is the entry we're supposed to go to first, is entry 1001, and it talks about those tracking sheets that we just covered. So we're already squared away on that. Now, encounters, it says the entries in this book are grouped in a number of encounters. So each encounter is a short collection of related entries. Once you begin an encounter, continue reading as normal until the encounter is complete. While reading this book, you do not exhaust your activation token when you make a decision, and requirements on options can be fulfilled by any of you. So essentially, we have our party, it's open, and we're in a town. We can do as we want, and we can choose which hero activates at any given time without actually having to flip those rune tokens over any point in time. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to go ahead now, get into the narrative of this story, and begin our adventure in Dragonholt Village. You wake to the smell of freshly baked bread and the chipper voices of Miriam and Sapphire. Golden shafts of sunlight stream through the window beside your bed, and you idle for a moment before getting up, watching the dust float in the air in the morning light. With a yawn and a stretch, you rise from your bed and prepare yourself for the day ahead. As you step out of your room, you see that Braxton has also just stepped into the corridor. She gives you a polite smile and nod. Morning. You are just about to respond when Miriam comes around the corner from the direction of the common room. Good, you're awake. Breakfast is ready. It's a real feast, exclaims Miriam eagerly. Come on, it'll get cold if you just dawdle in the hall. With that, Miriam takes Braxton's hand and drags her. Well, Braxton allows herself to be dragged toward the common room. Read entry 1042. Now, this is a little bit different because typically it says in these other campaigns that you would actually be tracking all the entries that we're going to go through, but in this particular one, we'll still track them. I'm going to track them on the 2 new roads tracking sheet just for the heck of it, just so we can follow a path, because we already know this campaign is done. So I'm just doing this on the fly. You can do it however you want, but we know that we've read the first entry, so 1001 is done, and then we'll just jump back to that book really quick to see where we should be currently. So I believe it was 1042. That's right, so 1042. I'm just keeping track of this in case I need to go back and reference for any other reason. All right, so 1042 just happens to be right here, which is right up in the top right-hand corner of this book. So you descend the stairs to the sunken common room. Sapphire is setting a table with plates. Miriam ushers Braxton to the table, and they both sit. You take a seat and examine the feast the Sapphire has prepared. Large yellow eggs, thick slices of brown toast, yummy ham steaks, and seasoned pan-fried potatoes. As you're scooping food onto your plate, Sapphire returns with 2 large pitchers, one filled with a creamy milk and the other with freshly squeezed juice. After checking in on the other patrons, Sapphire returns and sits at the table with you. So what brings you to Dragonholt? Have you come in search of love, or, Sapphire gasps and glances around before leaning in close, are you here for revenge? Braxton coughs and strikes her chest with a fist, having choked on a bit of potato, and Miriam begins to laugh. The love of theatrics runs in the family, I see, mutters Braxton after a drink of milk. Sapphire blushes lightly and looks back at you. Forgive me, perhaps I gossip with the neighbors a bit too much. So we've got a bunch of options here. There's actually 5 of them total. And as you can see, there's only one that actually requires any type of skill. So the one at the bottom here requires deception or performance. The other ones are all free chosen, except for, actually I just noticed, requires empathy is the 4th option for the 4th choice. So we could visit an old friend. We could say just looking for the next adventure. We could say hoping to find gainful employment. We could say if I'm lucky, I'm not the only one searching for love. Or I seek vengeance on the man who killed my father. Really interesting. Okay, so, let me just do a quick little recap here. Who should I choose to do this is the question. I'll probably have my orc do this. We're probably going to have, I think out of the choices, we're probably going to have Shirag Rundar do this choice. Now again, like I said before, we're not going to go ahead and activate her rune token, so it's always going to stay active. But which one should we do? I'm probably going to do... I really want to say I seek vengeance on the man who killed my father, but we need deception or performance. I don't believe we don't have it over here. And do we have it over here? Deception and performance? No, we don't. So we actually can't even do that one. So we're not going to be able to do that one. And empathy is the one that I know we also don't have. I'm almost pretty sure. Nothing there, and not there either. So it's looking like we're not going to be able to do 2 of the options that involve skills, which means it only leaves us with the top 3. So we could visit an old friend just looking for next adventure, hoping to gain employment. Gaining employment may not be a bad idea because it might take us in the kind of a direction of adventure, I guess. So let's do that. Let's do 9408. So we're going to do 9408. See where this kind of lands us. Now that's a pretty high number, so this is gonna jump me pretty far to the back of the book, like literally to the back of the book. So you gotta bear with me here because this book may flip on its side. Oh wow, it's really far back. 9408. Almost there, and we've got it. It's right here. Wow, that was quite a ways back. All right, so it says, you've come to Dragonholt at the right time. If you're looking for work, the orchard needs as many hands as it can get during the harvest, says Sapphire. She suddenly snorts at something amusing that must have come to mind. With that, Miriam tells me about you fighting off those bandits in the forest. You would be better guards than the ones Dragonholt has now. They're not very good at their jobs. Sapphire tilts her head to one side. Fior, over at the smithy, often needs some help with general labor, but I seem to recall her complaining about some goblins leaving her trouble lately, or giving her trouble lately. The bells on the front door jingle, signaling someone entering the inn. Sapphire stands. Excuse me, she says, and hurries off to welcome the new patron. Read entry 2994. All right, 2994. Write that down so we don't forget. And we're still technically doing this with Shirag Rundar. 2994. Let's jump back. Just a page too far, I think, maybe 2994. This book is fairly large. Okay, here we go. After breakfast, you return to your room to grab what you'll need before venturing into the village for the day. But when you return to the common room, you see that Braxton is also about to set out. Many of the patrons have dispersed since breakfast, but a few remain in the common room, reading or mingling with one another. Miriam is nowhere to be seen. If you have any questions about Dragonholt, don't hesitate to ask me, says Sapphire. Where has Miriam gone off to? Asked Braxton. Oh, that child couldn't wait any longer and ran off to see the old Apothecary's Shop. Sapphire shakes her head. Even if she buys it, it'll be some time before it's up and running. Nasty fire it was. Lormore fire is nothing to take lightly. If you discovered the hidden message in the letter from Celise, read 1518. Otherwise, 5302. If you discovered the hidden message. Now that's a really interesting one because I don't know if there is actually a hidden message, and that's going to be something I have to look into right now. So let's see. Let's see. Now we have this hidden message right here. Or I shouldn't say we have this hidden message. We have a letter. Where would the hidden message be? The only hidden message that I'm aware of is on the back side of this thing. It does say right here, please refer to my first letter, but that's not really a hidden message. If you discover the hidden message in the letter from Slade, so there should be a hidden message inside of this. Let's just doing a quick glance here myself to see if I run into it. I am having a hard time running into this. Not seeing it. I think it is like it was intercepted. I don't see it. I don't know if I'm blind or not, but maybe I am. So if you guys were able to find it, let me know, because I don't know exactly what I'm looking for besides all the insane spelling errors and things like that. There was nothing written in here that really popped out to me. If I reread this entry just to be doubly sure, it says right here that we are talking to Sapphire, and obviously Miriam has run off. She's going to set up her shop. If you discovered the hidden message in the letter from Celeste. Yeah, nothing at all. I didn't get anything. My friend put this letter, finds you in good health for once because I need travels. Her taking a position as tutor. Just outside the village. For some peace and quiet. Just reach out of my life. Complain about my life. It's very obviously inferior human vintage. It's talking a lot about the wine, and we know that she doesn't drink, and there's also the cloak thing too, but that doesn't, I don't know if that's a hidden message, so I'm going to probably have to say I have to read 5302. And I know there's some of you guys that may have actually figured that out already, so if you have, I do apologize, but I am not seeing it, so I'm going to have to go and follow the 5302 path. So we're going to flip to that. 5302. That's right over here. Okay, here we go. Alright, so thank you for your hospitality, Sapphire, says Braxton as she opens the door to leave. Of course, Hun, replies Sapphire. Good luck with the guards. Braxton smiles and nods before leaving. You are about to leave yourself when Sapphire stops you. Oh, and I almost forgot. If you're going around Dragonholt without a map, you might get lost. It's a small village, but some of the alleyways are a real... Interesting. She produces a folded piece of parchment and lays it out on the counter. Let's see, she mutters and scans the map. Ah, here we are. She marks the spot on the map with the swan. She spends a moment marking numerous other locations for convenience. Here you are. Don't lose it now, she says as she folds up the map and hands it to you. If you have any other questions about Dragonholt, come back and ask me. You gain the map of Dragonholt, and this encounter is complete. So we are now done. So let's take a quick look at all of the text here that is underneath of it. So the map of Dragonholt says, after completing an encounter, use the map of Dragonholt to choose a new location to visit. Each location has a 4-digit number that corresponds to an entry in the book. Just like everything else, when you choose a location, read it and go forward. If playing with 2 or more players, you will each take turns choosing locations to visit. When you choose a location to visit, exhaust your activation token. You become the active player and remain the active player until the encounter is done. If you should make decisions within the encounter as a group, but as the active player, you have the final say on those decisions. Gathering information. So during your time in Dragonholt, you might wish to gather information about the village or country or county or the events that happen within. Returning to the Swan to speak with Sapphire or visiting the village hall are great ways to gather such information. In addition, you might try visiting the local taverns in search of rumors. And days. The encounters in this book take place over multiple days as tracked on the tracking sheet on the back cover of this book. At the end of each day, an effect on the tracking sheet will instruct you to read a specific entry that bridges the gap between the day that just ended and the next day in the story. The events that occur at each location might change from day to day, and special events might occur on specific days. However, some locations will have the same or similar events on multiple days. Interesting. You cannot gain the benefits of any single entry more than once a day. Alright, so we're going to have to gain the map of Dragonholt, so we're going to go ahead and grab that. I'm really excited for this because this will be the first time you guys get to see this. If I can actually find it here. If it's not buried. There we go. Perfect. So, I'm just going to close this book up for now because we've now covered everything we need to do here. We've essentially completed the encounter. Everything's already written down and logged. I'm going to move this off to the side. We're also going to just unfold this map and so you guys can kind of get an idea of what this thing looks like. Here's a part of it. Alright, there's half of it. Let's pull this out. Sorry guys, I'm sure you guys are getting seasick by the camera moving, but this thing is really crinkled up at the moment. So here we go, we've flattened it all out. It's not going to sit perfectly flat and for a little bit until we get used to it, but essentially, or at least it gets pressed down and stays there. But we got a whole bunch of stuff. So we've got the Dragonholt symbol down here in the corner. Willow Grove is over here, and again, those 4-digit numbers are everywhere. So the smithy's over here. Got the guard station over in this area, the Market Street. We got over here on this far west side the dragon statues. We got the library. We've got the village hall, the guard station. Further north, we have the orchard, we have the shrine, we have the village green, we have the drunken hog, which I'm sure we could find some nice rumors there. The northern road goes here. Fairfax Manor is northeast. Countess Inn is more east. The Swan, southeast, and the eastern road over here. Chatty Archer, Bakery, and the Apothecary Shop sit in the center of town for the most part, and we know that that is the shop where Miriam has run off to. So if we want to find Miriam, we know she's going to be there. Now there was a particular mention in here. This note mentioned where this person was, and I just want to make 100% sure I got this right. I think it was said we were a tutor in a household of Lady Regina Fairfax, Countess of Dragonholt, just outside the village. Just outside the village. So if she's just outside the village, could it be Fairfax Manor? It might be. That's technically kind of outside the village. Willow Grove is over here. I'm not too familiar with the area just yet. Dragon statues over here, orchard over there. I would assume that could be it, maybe, but I don't know 100%. So essentially what you can do from here is you can start up or queue up anything, really, whichever place we really want to go to. I'm kind of tempted to head to the Apothecary Shop and see what Miriam's up to, just to see what happened with that whole purchase. So let's go to 6300 and start from there. Alright, so I'm going to take this map. Actually, I'm going to leave it right here because it's going to need to lay flat for a bit so I can get used to that. So I'll put this gigantic book on top of it for a while as it gets used to being crushed under its weight. So let's go to 6300. Alright, is it 6300 even? It is. Alright, so the Apothecary, I'm saying that terribly wrong, Apothecary Shop is a 2-story building featuring a large storefront and multiple back rooms. A show window fills nearly the entire front wall of the building, looking out toward the village green. If 5 or less time has passed today, read the entry below that corresponds to the current day. Otherwise, the shop is not open at this time. This encounter is complete. Oh, wow. Okay, so again, before I went ahead and did this, I was supposed to technically choose someone to actually go on this encounter. So I'm going to choose to have the Orc Shirag Rundar be doing this encounter. Just so that we're clear, and she's going to activate her token to say that she's the one who's doing this. So that's good to know. Alright, it's going to take a little bit to get used to that as well. I think anyway. So, alright, let's go ahead and read from, I guess this is day 1 is where we would be. So, because based on the Dragonholt tracking sheet, we are on day number 1 and no time has passed just yet. So, on our sheet right here, we have no time checked off for day number 1 just yet. but something's going to happen, but this is where we're going to end up. You can see if we happen to be on day 2 or day 3, it changes. So we're going on day number 1. So the walls of the Apothecary Shop are darkened by soot and burnt wood. The front door and its frame are splintered as if the door has been blown off its frame by an explosion. Several boards fastened in a sheet are nailed over what was once a large show window. Wow, okay, so that's not good. If 0 time has passed today, read 7542. That's what we'd be doing right now. So I'm gonna write these down because I want to keep track of this stuff. So 6300 we just did, and it's now telling us to go to 7542. The other option says if 3 or more time has passed today, then you'd read the other entry. So far we're okay there, and then otherwise it's not open. But it's still open right now, so let's go check it out. 7542. Really curious to find out what's going on here. 7542. Alright. The front door is crossed by several boards that are nailed into the wall on either side. There doesn't appear to be any way to access the building's interior from the main street. You hear someone mumbling and glance down the narrow alley between the shop and the next building over. Miriam is standing in the alley, hands cupped over her eyes as she looks into the building through a dusty window. She's mumbling to herself too softly for you to understand what she is saying. We can ask her, "Hey Miriam, what are you doing?" or pretend you don't notice. Then the encounter is complete. I am going to ask her. I'm definitely going to ask her. I don't want to complete the encounter by just ignoring her. So 8354. Alright, 8354. Let's see what's happening with Miriam and why she is peering. I mean, obviously she's peering in the window for some reason, and she can't get in the front door because of all the boards that have been boarded up. "Oh," says Miriam, stepping away from the building and whirling to face you. "Woo! Snuck up on me there." She turns back and peers through the window again. "I was just taking a look at the building, seeing how bad the damage is before I go sign the papers and hand over my gold." Miriam walks down the alley toward the back. "I bet the back door is unlocked. Let's go see." The back door is boarded shut, but there's a gap in the boards large enough for Miriam to squeeze through. "Ooh, I'm glad I wasn't here for this," she says, her voice sounding muffled from within the building. "We can follow her inside or leave her to her business." I'm going inside with her. Absolutely. I want to see what's inside this place. 5867. I hope this doesn't come back to bite me. Like we get caught inside of a building we're not supposed to be in. Let's see. 5867. You follow Miriam inside to find that the interior of the shop is a scene of surprising devastation. Everything in the back room is covered in black, thick soot, except for a human-shaped silhouette against one wall. The furniture lies in ruins, and part of the interior wall lies drunkenly into the front room. The door between the rooms is gone. In fact, you think that might be lying against the front wall, charred and lying in a pile of ash. "I think whatever was in this cauldron exploded," says Miriam. But the back room nudging a twisted piece of blackened, corroded metal with her foot, she pads through the wreckage to the front room, where the wall is covered in ash. The door flew off its hinges, hit the shelf there, where the Lamore fire was kept. Whoosh! Never store Lamore fire in the wooden building. She turns a slow circle and exhales a long breath. "Well, I've got my work cut out for me," says Miriam. "Most of these floorboards and walls need to be replaced. No use staying around. I'm off to get the deed." With that, she exits the shop through the hole in the back door, skips off toward the village hall. Time passes. This encounter is complete. So there we go, guys. We finished our first encounter in town, and we're going to go ahead and mark that off on time. And I will see you in the next episode of Legacy of Dragonholt. Thanks for watching, and keep on rolling.